Hello, welcome to another server-side Blazor tutorial concerning using Radzen. Today we shall be looking at how to fetch data from SQL Server using stored procedures and Radzen. So we shall be looking at one method which involves using ADO.NET, in other words, Microsoft.Data.SqlClient. Now, I need to let you know that Radzen 2.5 2.0 is now out. So Radzen 2.5 2.0 is now out. One major enhancement it features out of the box is that you no longer need to confirm. One major enhancement it features out of the box is that you no longer need to program confirm delete dialogues yourself. It is now available as one of the views generated for you anytime you scaffold any existing SQL Server database table. So going forward, my lessons will be based on Radzen 2.5 2.0. And in case you are wondering how you can get Radzen 2.5 2.0, just go to the Radzen website. You just type radzen.com and you click on download. Now, if you are, I'm on Windows platform, so automatically Windows is selected for me. If you are for Macs, these are your platform. Whichever platform you belong to, after you select it, then you click on download. So I'm going to close this window. Now, the first thing we are going to do is to ensure that our SQL Server service is running. So I'm going to search for my SQL Server instance. The SQL Server instance that I normally use for this program, the Bukonloa instance is running. So now that I've convinced myself that it's running, the next piece of business is for me to start Management Studio. That's Management Studio starting. So I'm going to connect to the instance called /. I'm going to type in my password. Say remember password. Then I'll click connect. So now, today's lesson will be based on the database that we created in the last lesson, which is Market List DB. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my computer, go to my local disk. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call the folder Bitbrooks using Radzen. After that, I'm going to start Radzen itself. You can start. Go to new. Select Blazor, select server side. The name of the project will be select using ADONet. Now I'm going to choose a directory for the project, and the directory I'm going to select is going to be the directory I just created, which is read books using Radzen. So I click select folder, then I click on create. So after clicking on create, I get this message that says congratulations. I close the dialog box. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'll click on the data tab and I click on new, call. I'm going to get my application data from SQL Server. Now call this condata dot slash lower as the server name. My database name is market list DB. So I'll come back here. So tab market list DB. Authentication, I'll leave it as SQL Server authentication. My user will be SA. My user will be SA. Type in the password for SA. After doing that, the next piece of business is I'll click on invert schema. Before I click on invert schema, I'll make sure that tables, relationship views, and stored procedures are all selected. And after that, I'll click on invert schema. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say generate pages for CRUD operations. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this date formats to Nigerian specific formats. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to click on finish. I go to my applications. Again, I go to select using ADONet. Then I click on run. So here is the newly generated application. When I click on delete now, the delete button, I get a confirm dialog being displayed. Well, I'm going to click cancel. Now I'm going to head back to Radzen, stop the project. Then I'll go to my applications and I'll go to under select using ADONet. I'll click on show application directory. Then I'll double click on select using ADONet solution. So the project is now open. I'll go to Solution Explorer. I'll expand it. So the next thing I will do is I'm going to go to SQL Server. I'll right click on Market List DB. I'll click on New Query. Start procedure. Fetch all markets. So I'm going to say create procedure, select all markets as. Then I'll say design query in editor. Then I'll select markets table. Then I'll click on add. Then I'll click on close. After that, I'll select the columns, the market table one after the other. After selecting the one after the other, I'll click on OK. So I have this as the definition of the stored procedure. The next thing I will do is I'll click on pass. Now, having seen that the TSQL statement is passed successfully, the next thing I will do is I'll click on execute. After clicking on execute, the next thing I'm going to do is I'll go back to Radzen. I'll open the project, select using Adonet. I'll go to data. I'll double click on data. I'll make sure that tables, relationship, views, stored procedures are all selected under infer settings. And I'll click on infer schema. Then I'll make sure that views, stored procedures are selected. Okay, select all markets have been selected. Then I'll click on finish. I'll go to my applications again. I'll open select using ADONet. And I click on run. So once again, application has been generated by Radzen. I'll go back to Radzen. I'll click on stop. Now the next business for me is I'll go back to the solution the project file in Visual Studio 2019. We open pages, and I'm going to open markets.razor.cs. So I'm going to have custom method to fetch all markets. So I'm going to have private async task make fetch all markets. So the next piece of business for me is I'm going to have my try block. I'm going to have my batch block, and in my catch block I'm just going to say notification service dot notify notification severity dot error summary is fetch market It's error. Error code by fetching markets. Display this error for 7 seconds. Display the dialog for 7 seconds. Okay. Get database connection strings from settings config settings.json. So my connection string is equal to new configuration builder .json file app settings.json.build.get section connection strings data connection. What are we talking about here? We are talking about app settings.json, and we're talking about this section. So back to this place, we need to import Microsoft.extensions.configuration namespace. Now let's quickly go back to Radzen. Let's click on markets. Now if you go to the load event handler, what you have here is you are fetching get markets from the data from the service layer, and you create a new variable called get markets result, and you assign the result of fetching data. Now we are going to reorder this. Now in order to reorder this, I'm going to copy what I have on the screen. I'm going to put it in Paint. Minimize. I'm going to copy this get markets result. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this. Then in my load event handler, select new action type. Say set property. Property name is get markets result. The value, I'm going to set it to new list of select using ado.net new list of select using ado.net dot models dot on data.market. Data.market. For the property type, change it to high enumerable. Click done. After doing this, I'll go back to Visual Studio. I will now say get markets result is equal to await on data dot week week term or markets. I'll be passing in my connection string variable as parameter. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, say generate method on data service dot return all markets. Method is generated. I click on the newly generated method. I say go to definition, and here is the newly generated method. Now I'll go to Solution Explorer. I'll open my services folder. I click on data service.cs. Select rename. I'll go back to that place. I'll say copy. Then I'll right click on services folder. Then I'll say add new class. I'll paste data service, but I'll say the new class name will be data service.custom.cs. Then I'll click on add. Then I'm going to remove these services here so that I have namespace select using AudioNet, then as a public partial class data service. Then I'll go to data service CS. I'll cut this method. Bring it here. I'm going to change this to private async task. And here I'm going to put this namespace. Save everything I've done so far. I'll go back to data service. Going to copy this. Come back to data service.custom.cs. I'll create a second parameter. Going to change this one to Radzen query. Excuse me. So the next thing I'm going to have is clean this. Have items got a new list of market item one dot items dot as queryable. Then here I'm going to import Microsoft.Data.SqlClient client namespace, and here I'll be passing my connection string parameter to SQL connection constructor. Then here I return items one. So then I have a try block. I have a catch block. I'm also going to have a finally block. So in my try block, this is what I have. The command is new SQL command. Command connection is connection. Command text is selector market. Command timeout 100,000. Command type dot store procedure using system.data. Then what do we have? Await connection dot open async. Var is equal to await command dot execute reader async. Data table dt is equal to new data table dt dot load dr. Await dr dot close async. Now, if dt dot rows dot count is greater than 0, so for each data row in dt dot rows, non-label market size in hectares is not decimal market size converter. If decimal dot try pass row market size in hectares dot to string out market size converter, market size in hectares is equal to market size converter. So now we have items dot add new models dot data dot market list ID is equal to convert dot to in32 row market list ID. Market location is equal to convert to string row market location. Market name is equal to convert to string row market name. Market size in hectares is equal to market size in hectares. After that, you have items 1 is equal to items dot as queryable. Then you are going to have the following. If query is not null, if not string dot is null or empty query dot filter, James dot items dot where items one dot where query dot filter using system dot link dot dynamic dot core. We have for other body as well. We have for query dot expand using Microsoft entity dot real world core. In the finally block, you have await connection that goes async. So the whole method looks like this. Private async task and enumerable Moyuk return all packets. You have this. You have this. You have this. You have a try. You have the command timeout. Command type to stop procedure when sync execute reader new data table load dr close dr async. If data table has any rows, for each row in data table, create nullable market size in hectares. Size converter. Okay. So class. Come back to market.razor and it says Moyik return all markets is inaccessible due to its protection level. Go to definition. I'll make this public. That fix that. So this is what we have so far. So now I have this method. Moyik fetch all markets. I'll go back to Radzen. I'll go back to the load events. Click on load event handler, add a new empty event handler. Change it to execute C#. I'll wait. Moyik fetch all markets. I click done. Okay. Let me click run here. So here I see that the page correctly runs in Radzen. Let's stop the project that is running in Radzen. Let's go back to Visual Studio. Now, let's go to Solution Explorer. Let's expand markets.razor. Let's double click on markets.razor.designer.cs. Let's look for the load event handler. That's what we have. So let's put a breakpoint here. Now let's run the old stuff in IS Express. So the breakpoint is 8. So I do function F10, function F10, then I do function F11, takes me here, function F10, I do function F10, I do function F10, inspect my connection string property. And I do function F11. I'm taking here function F10. So F10. Let's inspect our data table visualizer. See what we have in our data table. Okay. Let's say continue. This is what we have. So the page runs well. So class, we have successfully replaced the code generated by Radzen, which is based on entity framework.co. We have replaced it with our own custom select code, which is based on ADO.NET. Thank you for watching.